Remember that the big picture is the eternal. Before I jump into the blueprint you can follow to tap the power of your mind for greater personal productivity, results, success, and happiness, I need to establish one key principle. It's easy to look at mindfulness and meditation as simply tools that you use on your journey to get what you want. Fair enough, but it's very important to understand what it is you want in the first place. Let's put it this way. Even if you were equipped with the most powerful equipment in the world, if you don't know where you're going, your trip would be pointless. Chances are, you would be chasing your tail and be going around in circles. The world existed before you, it exists now while you're in it, and will continue to exist long after you're gone. You have to be at peace with this eternal truth. To fully wrap your minds around this, I need you to understand certain truths about how human beings have historically looked at the world and their place in it. With this understanding, your mind should be big enough to see your real place. Everything works in duality. Did you know that everything in the world, both seen and unseen, works in duality? You can't have black without white. You can't have empty without full. You can't have up without down. You can't have in without out. This is not an empty and shallow mental exercise. Instead, these dualities speak to the fundamental truth of what gives life meaning and power. The Greeks got it partially right. Their philosophy is binary in nature. Male and female, good and evil, light and dark, and so on and so forth. The problem is the Greeks focused primarily on the good things, the ideals, the forms, the essence. When they did this, they basically sidelined the other half of the equation. It is a binary world. They got that part right. But by focusing only on the positives on the matter at the expense of the antimatter, of light at the expense of darkness, they stripped away a significant portion of the power of duality. In fact, the Western mind has historically viewed the other side of these equations as suspect or weak or somehow untrustworthy. It's easy to celebrate the masculine side of a personality, but we're suspicious about the feminine side. It's easy to see the value of the light, but we're scared of the darkness. Do you see how this works? This is the Greek or Western mindset. Yin and yang make the universe turn. Thankfully, there is an alternative to the Greek black and white mindset. I am, of course, talking about the Chinese idea of yin and yang. When you look at the yin and yang symbol, it's obvious that it acknowledges the binary nature of reality. But unlike Westerners, the Chinese see an equal value in the other side of the equation. They understand that full or substance would be meaningless without the complementary reality of emptiness or nothingness. One good example of this is in the Tao Te Ching, the primary scripture of Taoism, where it highlights the importance of the empty hole in a pot. Usually, people don't even think about the empty hole in the pot. They think about how big the pot is. They think about the price. They think about what the pot is made of. Usually, people don't think about the empty hole. But the Tao Te Ching points out that it's the emptiness inside that pot that gives that pot value. After all, that's where you store stuff. A solid pot with no hole in the middle is completely worthless. In other words, it's the void or the nothingness that exists in a binary relationship with somethingness that gives life value. The Chinese get it. They understand that the darkness is not to be feared. They understand that emptiness is not something to cry over. It all depends on context and how the seemingly negative elements work with other factors. This is how you get a big picture of the eternal. You go past duality and understand and ultimately embrace the power of the void. A lot of Americans are scared of death. They're scared of the good times ending. A lot of people don't like to watch movies end, but believe it or not, death is what gives life meaning. Let me put it this way. If you knew you were going to live forever, do you think you would live a life of meaning? Do you think you would be kind to people? Do you think you would look to heal the wounds of your past? Do you think you would try to be compassionate and understanding? Of course not. When you get a deadline, you get perspective. The idea of duality communicates this loud and clear. You can't just live your life looking at the something of life. These are things that you can see, touch, taste, smell, and hear. You should also pay attention to the void. This is something that you can only grasp with your mind, but it's real nonetheless. It complements the something to produce real power in your life. The key that turns the ignition on this process, however, is focus.